locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another wonderful edition of the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition podcast hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Rasslin, and of course, the Hall of Famer, the man that delivers the TV ratings because he's one of the greatest of all time. Brother Devon Dudley, how you doing there, Devon?
Good, man. How you doing?
I am doing great. And listen, congratulations, my brother. You were on NXT this past week, and despite the fact that NXT was preempted, so it appeared on a Wednesday instead of its normal day of Tuesday, it was going head-to-head with AEW Dynamite, which was on its regular day and time. Despite all that, you managed to crush them in the television ratings. You managed to crush them in social media score, the whole 9 yards there. Devon Dudley, the great equalizer, delivering the ratings. How does that feel, brother?
Well, I don't want to say it was a complete effort on my part. I think it was a complete effort on everybody's part in NXT. The whole talent, the whole roster did an excellent job and really brought it. I was scared and a little nervous just because, remember, this is the ECW Arena. It's do or die. And you have to make sure that you come correct, especially when you start talking about hardcore matches. And the opening match really did a great job. And it was a women's match. Not to sound sexist, but it was a women's match that did a hardcore and really stepped up to the plate. So I congratulated both women and thought they did an excellent job. And they really got the ECW crowd going. And again, that's hard, especially when it's women in the ECW arena. I hate to say it, but you have to know the history to understand where I'm coming from when I say that.
Absolutely. I mean, there was definitely respect and appreciation shown to both Jada Parker and Lola Vice. They put on an excellent match there. They were beating the hell out of each other. There was a brick in the match, the whole 9 yards there. But the crowd, they weren't chanting, sexist, overtly sexual things at the ladies like the heyday of ECW, where it was, show your whats and all kinds of, slut chants and all that crap. None of that was going on. So it was definitely a modernized crowd who respected the two competitors in there, those two ladies there. But you're absolutely right. They set the tone for the entire night, and it was just an excellent, from top to bottom, excellent episode of NXT, excellent throwback to ECW. You were a major surprise, man. Now, I got a bone to pick with you here, Devon, because you didn't even tell us last week that you were going to be on the show. What's up with that?
Well, again, that's a surprise. I wasn't going to tell you. And that was because, things get out. It's not like back in the 80s and 90s when there was no internet, there was no spoilers or anything like that. You had the Dirtsheets, but by the time the Dirtsheets got a hold of it, the match already happened. So it wasn't something that, we actually could ruin anymore. And we don't have that luxury of doing stuff like that anymore. So the bottom line with that is being able to not let the people know that something's going to happen. You want to make it a surprise. I thought it was great. And that's why we try to keep it hush-hush, because it spoils it. It's not like back in the day with wrestling when you didn't know. Like, for instance, I'll give you a prime example. Hulk Hogan coming back from the AWA to help out Bob Backlund against the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika, of course, which is Roman Reigns' dad and uncle. When Bob Backlund went in the back to get Hogan, we had no idea what was going to happen. He comes out and the whole arena exploded. And that really started Hulkamania and Hulk Hogan's return back to the WWE. Now, think about it. If there were dirt sheets that had the internet and things like that and knew that Hogan was going to be there, it would not have been a surprise. We would have already known it, especially back then when they filmed 4 and 5 weeks of TV in one night.
Well said. You're absolutely right. The surprise factor still matters in pro wrestling, and fans respond to it in a positive way. And certainly that's exactly what happened in this case. NXT crushing AEW and the TV ratings on social media, the buzz, the whole nine yards. Speaking of the dirt sheets, you were a pretty popular topic of discussion by some of these humanoid bastards, as I like to call them, these jellybacks. According to Corey Brennan over at Fightful, which it's a tabloid, it's a gossip rag. They charge people, and half the time they're saying things that are just completely not true. And this Corey Brennan individual in particular, he has a habit of just completely making stuff up, lying about stuff. He's been caught, he's been called out, and he continues to do it. So in this case, he states Fightful Select has learned that the reason Devon Dudley remained out of the ring on Wednesday's NXT is that he is not medically cleared for physicality. NXT notes available now on Fightful Select for subscribers. So, of course, they got to get their plug in. They got to hustle people out of their money. This Corey Brennan person, first and foremost, or anyone from Fightful, did they reach out and speak to you directly, Demon?
No, they didn't. And, that's one of the things that really, really gets on my nerves about the dirt sheets, because they're not doing it because they think they got an accurate story. They're doing it so people can click on to the websites and the money and all of that. Listen, you guys can go fuck yourselves, okay? As far as I'm concerned, each and every one of you pieces of shit. Number one, it wasn't the fact that I didn't get cleared because of my health. Okay, that's one. No one can just walk into a WWE ring and just wrestle anymore. You have to go through the protocols. Every time my sons go to be extras in WWE, they have to get blood work and all of that done. Well, that wasn't done. And understand one thing: the stroke that I had and the back surgery I had was 4 to 5 years ago. I got cleared about 3 or 4 years ago from the back surgery and the stroke. The stroke is no longer an issue. That's one. Number two, am I lingering with the fact that I'm still feeling a little pain here and there with the back surgery? Absolutely. Tell me one person that had back surgery that doesn't have a lingering effect of the back surgery. So again, you guys go fuck yourselves and everything all the misinformation that you're giving out to the public. No, my health is not in jeopardy. And no, it wasn't because I couldn't wrestle or anything like that. It was the fact that, again, I did not go to medical to get cleared. And by the time I got to the arena, it was too late. So that was the reason why it didn't happen. There are certain people that don't get cleared because of medical reasons, but that wasn't the case for me. It was, again, I'll say it again. It was because I did not do the proper screening or take the proper test to go in there to do what I had to do to be able to do the physicality. And the ball was dropped. So I'm not saying it was WWE's fault, and I'm not saying it was my fault. But again, it happened. Get over it. Stop trending over stupid bullshit. And I'm tired every time I turn around, you guys are just dragging my name in the dirt for no reason. Every opportunity you get, you like to fuck with me. Well, again, go fuck yourselves. Whether it's about me and Bubba not being together anymore, or we hate each other, or it's my health, go fuck yourself.
Whew. You hear that straight from the source, folks. And you don't have to go to the dirt sheets and let them lie to you for $9.99, $12.99, whatever they're charging people and robbing them on. There was no medical issue that prevented Devon Dudley from being physical in the ring. You just heard it from him. He just explained to you exactly what happened. No one would know that better than him. And if there's anyone who would know that better than him, then they can speak up. Put your name on it and let's hear from you. But these dirt sheets just spinning their own tails and, essentially hustling people out of their money and lying to them. It literally ruins the experience. There's no integrity in this wrestling media because you have a bunch of bozos who are so poor at their job and they don't realize you're affecting real lives in saying this. The way that this Corey Brennan at Fightful has phrased this and the way that Fightful has ran with this could cost Devon future bookings. You know what I mean? What if Devon wanted to mix it up somewhere else and do something and is okay to do that? You saying he's not medically cleared in the WWE, now you're hurting his brand. And I'm just going to tell you folks right now, people get sued for less than that. So you better start being a lot more careful, especially when you speak on this Hall of Famer right here, because we're not going to tolerate it. Simple as that. Um, Speaking of Bubba, you and Bubba were together again, not only in NXT, but you also were together this past weekend at a major convention, right?
Yes, we were. The big event in Long Island, New York. Um, we had a great time. The fans were fantastic, and they came in droves, and we made a lot of money. I have to say that, and we really enjoyed ourselves. It was great to see the fans in Long Island. You know, I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, but I also spent time in Long Island. Um, I actually grew up about 20 minutes away from where we had the event, and it was great to see some friends and some people that I had, encountered over the years that I hadn't seen in years that came to say hello because they knew me and Bubba were going to be there. And Bubba actually lived 5 minutes away from the building. And also, the ECW training facility was 10 minutes away from the building. Me and Bubba were reminiscing about that because that's where me and Bubba met. Of course, we're brothers from different mothers, but, we basically met at the ECW Arena. Um, so we were talking about that, and it was great to see, again, people from the past, from yesterday, and then the great fans of today. I love Tommy from Big Event who helped promote the show. He's been nothing but great to me, and anytime that I wanted to be on the show or he had a show, he would always invite me. So big ups to a Big Event and doing everything with class. That show went off without a hitch. Everybody made money. Everybody was happy. The fans appreciate everything that we had did, and I'm very happy to say that next year I'll be doing Big Event again.
Congratulations, and of course, shout out to Big Event and the organizers there. You knocked it out of the park, and it's another example. The Big Event, River City Wrestling Con, there were certain conventions that just get it right, and it starts with being professional and doing good business. A lot of you other folks out there who are running conventions or are thinking about starting a convention, you should be taking a look at the Big Event and taking a look at their business model and listening to these, legends like Devon Dudley who are explaining to you why they had such a great time. And he's already saying he's going to be back. So that tells you everything you need to know about how well this was. In fact, if you go on to Instagram at Testify Devon, you'll see video of the line, not just for Devon, but the whole place was packed. And that's just a prime example of great promotion. That's a prime example of delivering on quality service, not only for the fans, but also for the superstars, the legends, the wrestlers. When everybody's feeling good, then there's nothing to do but make money and make memories. So keep that in mind, all of you convention folks out there. There's a right way to do it. Unfortunately, so many of you do it the wrong way, and that's where you create a bad rap for everybody. So that's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. So you got something else going on, brother, and I guess we're gonna break an exclusive here. A little birdie told me that you have some things going on with your YouTube channel, which you're going to be revealing very, very soon. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. What's going on with Devon Dudley and YouTube?
Well, I'm actually on my way there now to the wrestling school. We're going to film a few episodes there. And one of my good friends in the business, Maven from Tough Enough, from WWE Tough Enough, will be there also to join me. We're going to be shooting a few episodes. I've done work with him on his YouTube show, so he wanted to come and help me with mine. And to get it started, I've never, ever had a YouTube channel, and I've always wanted to do one. So I was at a convention, and the people that are doing it basically came to me and asked me would I like to do it. And I said, well, hell yeah. I just never had the right producers or people to come in to me to help me to want to do it. And so they are willing to fly down anywhere or fly me anywhere to go do, the different episodes and things like that. So I was very happy to hear that. And I took advantage of it. So we're going to start shooting it today. I will announce when the first episode will be launched, and we'll definitely go from there. So it should be really good. I'm really excited about it.
So this is some type of reality TV series, basically, right?
I would say yes, because my kids are going to be involved with it as well. We're going to do different skits to have them involved, and around the house, maybe me being dad, showing that side of me that people don't really see with people who are in the limelight. Their life outside of whatever profession they're involved in. So it'll be in a way that be in a different light to see me do what I do when the cameras aren't rolling. But only this time they will be rolling.
Well, listen, shout out to the wonderful listeners here at Devon and the Duke. You keep saying that you love hearing about the family man, Devon Dudley, and how interesting that is to see that gentle side of this big hulking legend here. Well, you're going to get a lot more of it on the YouTube channel in the not too distant future. And shout out to Maven. I mean, this guy has just been everywhere. He's on Pierce Morgan. He was on Vlad TV, which he's been getting high regard for his interviews on Vlad most recently. Maven is cooking, man. In fact, I'm going to put a challenge out there because I reached out to Vlad and I put a bug in his ear. So, Devon, let's lean on Maven about this as well. I believe it would be wonderful for Devon Dudley to do an interview on Vlad TV. It's one of the top YouTube interview shows around. And a lot of other wrestlers have been on there and have done pretty well. Maven, the most recent, and Maven actually put you way over during his interview on Vlad. So what's up? Vlad, reach out to Devon. Let's get this going. You got to get Devon on your show as well. I think that would be a match made in heaven, and Devon can open up even more about his upcoming YouTube series during that. So I'm putting the gauntlet out there. I'm putting the challenge out there. What do you think about that, Devon?
I'm going to do it. I can't have Maven have one up on me.
Well, listen, there was a meme going around, and I'm going to tease Maven a little bit, and I mean this respectfully, brother. So don't come looking for me now, Maven. Come on now. I know you still got that drop kick. Don't come looking for me. But there was a meme going around that every time Maven does an interview, he talks as if he was Ric Flair, The Rock, and everybody rolled up into one. So let's get the truth from somebody who was there the whole damn time now. Maven, where would you rank him, especially during his career in the WWE? We know that he got a lot of TV time. We know that he was utilized as somebody to market WWE's foray into reality TV, and it was effective. It worked out. That's why you had Tough Enough last as long as it did, and then Total Divas eventually spun off and things. So this is, the Miz and Mrs. All this stuff comes from Tough Enough originally. But from your perspective, Devon, is Maven this big, super duper superstar, or was he just more like a regular guy? What's the real story here?
I don't think Maven got his just due. There were certain people in the office that didn't like Maven just due to the fact that he came off of Tough Enough. And, there were a lot of people who were agents at the time that didn't really care for him. And, when you have agents that don't care for you, that can be bad because they're the ones that's going to influence the office whether to use you or not to use you. And there were times where Maven was hot. Maven was able to get the crowd where it needed to be, especially when he turned heel and got the people to hate him. It was really, really good. And it got snatched from underneath him. He never got the opportunity to finish. And you hear stories like that all the time in pro wrestling, especially in WWE, where there might be somebody in the office who's higher up who may not like you because you said hello to them on a wrong day. And that's usually the case. Maven was a tremendous athlete. He was a school teacher before he came into professional wrestling and then, turned pro wrestler. He did an excellent job on the television show Tough Enough, which we all saw, which was the first Tough Enough winner to be crowned, him and Nydia. And, it was a great thing for Maven. So it really skyrocketed his career because remember, being on WWE TV is special, but being on MTV is even more special. And the ratings for MTV went through the roof. So Maven was very liked And plus, Maven was extremely easy on the eye. Very good looking guy, nice body. He basically carried himself very well on TV. The girls loved him, and that was a big plus. So when he left the WWE and went to do, I forgot the MTV reality show. I think it was not. I think it might have been The Real World. I'm not sure the name of the show that he was on, but it was a reality show that did extremely well. And I remember going into clubs and things like that with him. And these girls who never, would have in a million years watched wrestling, or guys that never watched wrestling, but they watched MTV and they all knew him. So he had the popularity because of WWE, but extremely because of MTV, The Surreal Life. That's what it was called. And, he really got a really huge fan base because of that. So, but in terms of wrestling, he was a tremendous athlete. Maven could go, when given the opportunity. He was very eager to learn. He was hungry. And, when he got in the ring and you asked him to do something, he was able to do it.
High praise for Maven. And you're absolutely right. This guy had that Southern charm going on. And, to be good looking, great shape, great communicator, which of course, working in education, certainly you have to be a great communicator in order to do that. All of those things were the perfect storm for this guy. You're absolutely right. And he got over. There's no question about it, not just in wrestling, but outside. So,
But
definitely shout out to him. I wonder if you take a Maven, all those intangibles, exactly who he is, same exact person, and you drop him into today's WWE, how far do you think that guy would go?
given the right opportunity and the chance, I think very far. I think the sky's the limit. And you know what also helped Maven? I don't know if people remember, but his mother, God rest her soul, phenomenal woman. I loved her to death. She was a phenomenal woman. She had cancer. And while Maven was going through the show, the WWE captured that on film, where she was going through chemo and trying to fight the battle of cancer. It was unfortunate she lost her battle, but and it devastated Maven. But one of the things that Maven, had always said to me, that he was going to make his mother proud, and that he was going to make it, and that's what drove Maven to do what he was doing, in the WWE. And so, that was one of the biggest stories in Tough Enough. Out of all the stories there were, that was one that really stood out to me. And not only because he's my best friend, but just the story was so compelling, and it drew you in. And it was something that people really, really could relate to, because everybody in their family, unfortunately, has to deal with losing someone to cancer. It's a nasty disease, and hopefully one day we can find the cure. But it's just one of those things where that really resonated with a lot of people, and I think that's also what got the people behind Maven during that time.
Well said. Well said. Wow. Yeah, that's a great point. You just reminded me of that journey with his mom. Yeah, that allowed people to see a different side and get a glimpse of who the man is behind the persona, and that certainly helped build that fan base. That's good call. Good call. And again, shout out to Maven. That's a guy that I'm glad he's getting a second act, so to speak. I'm glad that he's back in the spotlight because he has a lot to offer. Love listening to him talk. Again, the guy's just a great communicator. So he's, in my opinion, he's a great ambassador for pro wrestling as well because he's so good at expressing whatever he has to say and telling stories and things like that. And he's never crapping on the business either. It's always
Right.
something that you can walk away with the newfound respect for what you guys and ladies put out there. So, shout out for sure. It's interesting, Devon, because there's two ways to go. You can be the salty, grizzled veteran that gives the young folks a hard time and takes advantage of them and makes their experience miserable. And certainly we have countless examples of those sort of things happening throughout the history of pro wrestling. But when it comes to Devon Dudley, all we ever hear is how respectful and, dare I say, gentle and relatable. You always are with everyone, especially people who are pretty, new in the business and just breaking in. It's not a surprise that you ended up becoming a trainer and an excellent trainer and teacher and what have you in your own right. But even before then, where you were still at the height of your career and being active, and you could have been a jerk if you wanted to be, why were you so accommodating and respectful of people who didn't have as much experience when other folks were smacking them around and giving them a hard time? How come you didn't do the grizzled veteran thing and instead you did the humanity thing?
Because I didn't like it. I thought it was wrong. And remember, I wasn't a second generation wrestler. My mom was not in my corner at all when it came to wrestling, just for the simple fact that I had a 4-year scholarship to Florida A&M to play football, and I turned it down. Um, I just didn't feel that football was my passion. Although I love the contact, I love hitting, I just did not feel that football was my passion. So when I decided to pass up that scholarship, again, how do I say this? My mother's a reverend. My father's a reverend. They're both preachers. So when I passed up that scholarship, I was like Satan in my mother's eyes. She called me every name but my name. And at first she thought it was a joke when I told her, yeah, I'm not going to wrestle. I'm not going to play football anymore. I'm going to do pro wrestling. She laughed at first. And when the scouts called and they were ready for me to go and visit the school, and I told them no, she was irate. She thought it was a joke, and I had to leave the house and everything. It was bad, man. And so I had to learn this business on my own. I had people like Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman to help me along the way, but I made mistakes, and I fell, and luckily I was able to get back up. But I knew that it was going to be hard for me to make it, and, I didn't think I would make it to this level. I never dreamed in a million years that I would get this far in the business. I never saw it coming. I also never saw me, being in the same category as a legendary tag team, the Road Warriors. I never thought that me and Bubba would reach that height. I mean, that's huge. And to be able to accomplish that and to be, known as the most decorated tag team in the history of the business, I just never thought that I would ever reach that. It was just something that I was very proud of once I did accomplish it or on my way to doing it. And knowing that I didn't have the help along the way from being a second generation wrestler, I always knew that if I had the opportunity to help somebody or to guide them, that I would. And I'm not going to be like the veterans who are salty and bitter because the career is over and they have nothing to offer in that sense anymore, being in the ring. There's a lot more you can offer other than being in the spotlight and still being number one. I felt gratification when, I was a producer backstage. And, I felt like I was given one of the hardest jobs. And I say that because of who they put me to produce their matches all the time, which was the New Day and the Usos. We wrestled both tag teams and helped elevate them to get them to another level. But for me to be a producer for them, it was challenging for me because these guys were already smart to the business. So to have me come in and to try to tell them what to do, at first I thought they were going to like, man, get out of here. We know what we're doing. Besides, we wrestled your ass. And, I didn't know if they would take to me like that, but they did. And, every time I see the New Day, they're always giving me, that welcome. Every time I see the Usos, they're always telling me thank you, because I was there to really help them to get to that next level. Because at one point in time, Jay and Jimmy were a little frustrated because it just seemed like at the time during the Vince regime that, yes, they were good, but not at that level where they are now. I thought they could have gotten that level a long time ago. But it didn't seem like the office was ready for them. Maybe they weren't. Maybe if given the opportunity back then, they would not have been able to strike the way they are now. And it's one of those things where now they're like really benefit from what they are doing now. And not to mention, sometimes you got to fall from grace in order to, you know, succeed to where God wants you to put you. And I firmly believe that. I think Shaq said it best. Shaq said you have to fail in order to be successful. You just can't be successful right off the bat. You have to fail at things. So then you learn how to be successful. And I think the Usos did that. And this is why they're in the position that they're in right now. And this is why the New Day is in the position that they're in right now. So I was very happy to be a part of that and to be able to help them to get to that level, not only in the ring, but outside the ring as a producer.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. After you and Bubba had those series of matches, those feuds with both teams, every single one of those guys went on to be far more successful, including as singles wrestlers. So there's no question about it. They needed that passing of the torch, that stamp of approval in the ring from you guys, from the Dudley Boys, and that extra bit of guidance from a mentor like Devon Dudley. I mean, that's awesome to
Well,
hear
I
behind the
want you to
scenes.
also remember it's not just Devon, it was Bubba too. I know sometimes he likes to say and talk a bunch of shit about me on Busted Open, but it's brotherly love. I don't take it personal. But Bubba was very instrumental in helping in that way as well. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the knowledge of the business, I don't think there's nobody better than Bubba. I think Bubba is truly the Pat Patterson of this era. And, he can come up with finishes and promos and things like that off the top of his head without even thinking. He's just that good. I learned a lot from Bubba, because I learned backwards. I learned how to wrestle first and then learn the psychology and everything else about the business after, where Bubba learned the psychology and everything else first, and then the in-ring ability. So it was different, and we both. That's why I think we gelled so well, because we both played off of each other. What I was weak in, he was strong, and what I was strong in, he was weak, and we were able to counter that.
I mean, that's high praise. That's high praise. No question. You hear the way the fans react anytime you folks are together, anytime you're doing anything on TV, at live events, the merchandise coming out. The Dudley Boys as a brand is as strong in 2024 as it's ever been. And that is a testament to the hard work that you both have put in and the confidence that you've earned from Paul Heyman, from Vince McMahon, from Triple H, from Nick Khan, from the company in general. So, kudos to you guys collectively. And Bob, I'm going to tell you right now, on that Busted Open Radio, you have a habit of putting yourself over and kind of, taking your foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to my man here, Devon. Bubba, I'm just going to tell you right now, brother, come on now. You heard the way he just put you over. Devon ain't going to say this because he's too respectful to say this, but I'm going to say it. Bubba, you can put your brother over a little bit stronger than that, okay? And I'll leave it at that, okay? I'm going to defend you. I'm going to defend you, brother. I'm going to do it. The smallest guy in the room here against these giants. I'm going to defend you. I don't give a damn. It is what it is, but it's love. It's love for sure. Okay, now, Devon, you got to give it to us straight now because you've been doing a lot of traveling. You made your East Coast tour over the past 2 weeks. So what was the best thing that you ate that reminded you of the old days or what have you? What was the thing that you couldn't wait to get another one of those and you haven't had it in a while and it was great?
What do you mean within the past
2 weeks. You were in Rhode Island, you were in Philly, you were back in New York, you were all over the place. So did you get a pizza? Did you get a sandwich? What was it? What made you think of home when you were on your tour here?
No, I gotta say I did not indulge in anything. Unfortunately, I should have went to Geno's in Philadelphia, but I didn't. Um, because I had been doing the DDP yoga and dieting the way I was scared to eat. I'm really scared to eat anything that I used to eat, just simply the fact that I don't want to gain any weight. So it's one of those things where, I basically try to watch what I eat at all times. But then there's times when I don't care because I'm not an active full-time wrestler anymore. So I just don't care. But I may indulge that one time. No, I take that back. I did. There was a place that we went to before the show and after the show. It was called Chickies. It was in Philadelphia, right by the stadium. And they had some wings that were out of sight. It was probably one of the best wings I've ever had.
Wings, okay. Now, how did you get your wings?
Barbecue,
Okay,
bone
all
in.
right. Bone in, not the boneless. You get the bone in. Okay, now here we go. Are you drums or are you flats? Which is your favorite?
I love drums.
Wow. All right, I guess you and I would never argue because I'm a flats guy all the way, man. I gotta have my flats. I prefer it, so you can have all the drums. That's straight there.
I
But
just feel the drums are a lot easier to eat. You got to eat in between the flats.
got it. You want to get right to it. Just get it done. I got you. Now you said you should have went to Geno's. So what's going on here, Devon? Because you know that this is a big divide. We got Geno's, we got Pat's. When it comes to a Philly cheesesteak, you're a Geno's guy, huh?
Well, I've never been to Pat's. I've heard of Pat's, but I've never been.
Oh,
So I don't even know if Pat's was there during my ECW run. It might have been. I just didn't know about it.
so Geno's was always the place for you.
Geno's was always the place that everybody went. Believe it or not.
Wow,
I don't think I'm wrong. I could be. I'm sure some people might dispute what I'm saying, but I don't think I'm wrong.
that's amazing.
Again, I'm not
That's
putting
amazing.
I'm not putting Pats down. I'm not saying Pats is not good. I just never had Pats, and I really never heard anybody really talk about it like they do Geno's.
Interesting. Now, you would go with the cheese whiz, or would you get the real cheese? What are we doing here on the cheesesteak?
I get the real cheese.
There it is. See, same way. See, listen. In Boston, we call it a steak and cheese sub. All right. There's no cheese steak. It's a steak and cheese sub. That's what we call it. And we use real cheese. We don't use this whatever the hell that cheese whiz stuff is. All right. This is a big divide that we have with Philly. I know you're a New York guy technically, so you could be the referee here. But I maintain a steak and cheese sub in Boston. I'll put that up against any Philly cheesesteak any day of the week. What do you think about that?
I think you should do it. But there is one place. There is one place I wanted to go, but somebody tapped out on me and then wasn't able to make it. I wanted to go to Kowloon's restaurant and wasn't able to make it because a certain person stood me up. We had all these plans, cigar bar, Kowloon's, and we never did it.
Folks, this man knows that outside of this wrestling podcasting world, I'm in the political realm and I won't get too deep into it, but you know what I mean by that. Those of you who know. And unfortunately, election weekend, yeah, I couldn't do it. And I was so heartbroken because I wanted to hang with my brother. And you're right, we should have went to Kowloon's. We probably would have gotten into trouble because you start drinking the Mai Tais. At least me, I start drinking the Mai Tais, man. I might get who knows what's going to happen. I'll be doing karaoke after that.
Well, my lady got me into Crown Apple and cranberry, so I'm into that now.
Oh boy, okay,
Yeah,
so a little bit of sweet, a little bit of tart, and definitely strong, huh?
bro, it's
Now,
good.
now, do we do it with ice or you just take it neat like that?
No. We do some ice. Do some ice. Add a little,
Okay.
add a little chill to it.
Wow, Crown Apple and cranberry. I'm gonna have to try that next.
I'm telling you,
That
it's the
sounds
drink.
delicious.
She's got me drinking it.
That sounds delicious. One of the things and this is, the pandemic was so terrible to everybody. Everything was shut down for such a long period of time. But the good part is, people picked up new skills. So I started making my own drinks and things like that. You know what I mean? And one of the things that I figured out, if you go and get an Italian ice, you can go to you can go to the grocery store and pick up Italian ice. You throw that in a blender, and then you put your rum or your vodka or your whatever, your gin. You blend that sucker up. That's a hell of a drink right there, brother. You know what I mean? You got yourself a nice frozen drink right there.
Well,
So,
next time we're together, we definitely have to do it. But I'm very disappointed about that cigar bar. I'm more disappointed about the cigar bar than I am Kowloon's.
well, listen, you didn't have any of this, the new special edition Devon Dudley cigars through the Notorious Cigar Company there. We're still waiting on that batch to come in, man.
Well,
Anytime you go to a cigar bar.
it's actually
Oh,
there at Fairway Cigar in Melbourne. I haven't gone and picked it up yet because I had been away. So they called me and told me that it came in. So I'm actually going to go pick it up.
I love it. I love it. Listen, folks, you got to get yourself some of these new edition Devon Dudley cigars through Natura Cigar Company. Fairway, they know how to hook it up, so you can definitely reach out to those folks there. But if you or anyone in your family likes to indulge in a fine cigar, Devon Dudley has his own special batch here, so let's get right to it. You know what I'm saying? That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Listen, Devon, we just had a special birthday celebration for one of our loyal listeners, and she's a huge fan of yours throughout your entire career. A young lady by the name of Katina Rice, aka the Silver Fox. She is a school teacher, a mother, a grandmother. Most importantly, she is a wonderful and cherished fan of pro wrestling. So, what do you have to say to Silver Fox Katina Rice?
Well, happy birthday. Thank you so much for your love and support for over the years. And I hope to continue to entertain you the way that I have and to be able to show you that the Dudley Boys will and always will be the greatest tag team in the history of this business, bar none. No one has ever come close to defeating the records that we have. Now, let me put something on record, too. And I hope Xavier and Kofi hear this. The New Day supposedly broke our record in WWE by winning 10 titles. Here's the deal. With the tag team titles, it's tag team titles, so it's two guys. If Bubba and I got hurt, we still had to wrestle, or we had to forfeit the titles if we couldn't. I'm a little upset. I told it, me and Xavier had this talk one time. And, of course, it's friendly. This is nothing, malicious or anything like that. So the Dirt Sheet Riders can take this and run with it however the hell you want to run with it. We always laugh about this because I bring this up to them. I'm like, when Biggie got hurt, if it was Biggie and Xavier, if Biggie got hurt, then Kofi came in and did it. If Xavier got hurt, then Biggie would come in. So they always had that third person to come in and be able to substitute and defend the titles. We didn't bring Spike in when we could have, but we never brought Spike in if one of us got hurt. So, therefore, winning 10 tag team titles, no. Unless you can go the whole run with just you and Kofi, or Biggie and Xavier, or Biggie and Kofi, without having a substitute come in, then you can say you broke the Dudley's record. But until then, no. We have this discussion all the time, and they always try to prove me wrong, especially Kofi. Kofi's like, sir, excuse me, sir. I'm like, no. We are the greatest. 24-time World Tag Team Champions.
You hear that? Kofi Kingston, my fellow masshole, he's a Boston guy just like I am. Kofi, your chest ain't big enough to be talking to Devon like that now. Come on. Woods, video game guy.
Hold on. And not to mention, I would love to go on the record and say that Kofi has never beat me in PlayStation UFC.
Wow. This is breaking news now.
I can hear
wow.
Kofi now. Sir. Whoa, sir. Excuse me, sir.
You're going to get a call after this one, boy.
Oh, I probably will. Especially from
Shout
Kofi.
Out to Kofi. Yeah, shout out to Kofi.
I love those guys to death. I love New Day. Again, I love the Usos. Those are my boys. They always will be. And I'm glad we had not only that history in the ring, like I said earlier, but just to be their producers and then be able to be a part of so many of their legendary tag matches that got them where they are today. One of the greatest things I loved about producing their match was the whole rap battle that they did. on, I believe it was SmackDown, with they had what's the
Wale.
rapper with
Wale.
Wale there. It
Yep.
was something. I didn't know half the stuff they were gonna say, and it was it was great. It caught us all off guard, and and Vince gave them right. Vince was like, hey, go out there and do what you got to do. So they were like, D, listen, we're gonna tell you right now, we don't know half the shit we're gonna say. So I was like, listen, Vince gave you full blanche. You guys go out there and have fun, and that's exactly what they did. So I was very happy to be a part of that and to help produce that.
I never knew that you were the producer of that segment. That's one of the greatest segments of all time. It's something people still talk about to this day.
I mean,
Wow.
they put on a lot of the replays and all. I mean, it was really really good stuff between them. And and one of the greatest, I think one of the other things I loved doing was the 24/7 title with Tozawa, Truth, and Reggie. Vince gave me, we're in the producers meeting, and I said, Vince, can we do this? He goes, Devon, I'm going to say this. This is your baby. You do whatever you want. I said, you're giving me permission to do whatever I want to make this correct. He goes, have fun with it. And I remember Michael Hayes goes, damn, Devon. Vince just gave you the go to go ahead and do whatever you wanted. And he did. We hit a home run every single time. It was great. I was happy and loved the fact that I was able to have that 24/7, and it produced good ratings the way it did. I mean, of course, it died down a little bit. I had the stroke, and then I stepped down. I was recovering. I'm not saying that it went down because I wasn't producing, but again, I do know that a lot of times Truth was like, "When you coming back? When you coming back?" I was like, "I don't know, Truth. I mean, this really got me." And he was like, "Well, stop faking and come on back." But we had a really good time doing that. I really bonded with those guys, Tozawa, Reggie, and Truth. I mean, we had some memorable moments with the 24/7, especially the thing in the hotel with Drake and his wife and Tozawa and Truth. It was some funny stuff.
So wait a second. This is interesting here because again, breaking news. We never knew that you were the lead producer for that 24/7 title, especially during that time period. I'm gonna say something to you, Devon, that I don't even know if you realize. WWE generates roughly at least $50 million from YouTube alone. And, that's a line item in the budget that started off as nothing and has grown to something very significant. I mean, $50 million is basically the budget for Raw for the year. It costs about $1 million to put on each episode. So, between 50 and $52 million, you can fund Raw for a whole year. So the fact that on YouTube they're able to generate that kind of money, it's a big deal and it's helped the company a lot. That 24/7, that whole storyline and all those segments and what have you were consistently some of the highest rated stuff on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, on Twitter, no question about it. It was generating the company so much money and it was getting over more than a lot of other things that are happening on the TV show. The fact that you had a hand and such a big hand in that, brother, I got to give you your flowers, man. That is a big deal, man. Congratulations on that.
I mean, again, Tozawa, Truth, Drake, his wife, Reggie. Listen, when you have that many people with so many ideas, you have to be able to click. You have to be able to respect one another to be able to, want to use those ideas. And that's exactly what we did. We had a mutual respect for each other. And we didn't go, no, that's not going to work, or no, that sucks. We took an account of everything that everybody was saying, and we made it work. We would actually go to the playground and see where Reggie can jump off and flip off of things. And, we would create different scenarios. I had probably one of the best times as a producer doing that segment because it was all mine. In other words, Vince gave me full blanche to just go ahead and do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't have to clear anything with him. He just said, go have fun. And that's exactly what we did.
Did you realize that it was getting over as much as it was?
I think after the hotel, um, incident, I think that's when I realized we had something. Because that was funny. And the way Truth and Tozawa and Drake played it off, it was really a good time. I think that's when I knew.
That is amazing, man. Well, you're blowing my mind with this because, again, that was some of the best stuff going. And unfortunately, when they basically put it to rest, um, that left a big hole that really did not get filled until this Bloodline storyline started up. And that took years. So your impact on the business, on the WWE in particular, is a hell of a lot more than even we realize. My goodness, bro. That's a big deal. So I'm going to put a bug in the ears there. We need to have something like this come back. I mean, if Devon Dudley can combine with these wonderful performers and come up with that type of material, hello, Triple H, what's up? You saw what he did with Trick Williams, just the music video alone and how that went viral. We need to get this party going again, man, because that's just great stuff. That is great stuff.
I can tell you what, you're going to see a lot more of the Dudleys, back home where they belong in WWE, but NXT and things like that. So I'm sure what you saw last week will not be the only time. There'll be many more to come, and I'll make sure that my medical is taken care of, so that way I can compete a little bit or do certain things, so the ball won't be dropped. And all you dirt sheet riders, again, can go to hell.
Devon, if anyone wants to keep up with you, especially now that we know that you have this YouTube series that's going to be dropping soon and so many other great things, you got these live events where, you got lines out the door to come meet up with you and of course, Bubba, when you're together and what have you. What's the best way everyone can just keep track of where Devon Dudley is going to be next?
Well, all my information I like to put on is on Twitter, which is Testify Devon, but mostly Instagram. Testify Devon. I do have a Facebook, but that's private. Only close family and friends are on there. But as far as finding out any information on where I'm going to be and how all of that is, I am definitely on Instagram and Twitter. So you can follow me there, and you'll get all the information you need.
Of course, folks, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, dukelovesrasslin@gmail.com. Let me know what you think of the episode. You got any questions, the whole 9 yards. But, we're winding down 2024, and 2025 is going to be the biggest year ever. Not just for this show, but for the Dudley boys, not just the Dudley boys, but for Devon Dudley in particular. So you definitely got to continue to listen to what we have going on here so you can stay in the loop, stay in the know on what's coming next. All right, Devon, it's that time of the week now, my brother. What is the Devon Dudley word of the week to take us out?
Well, I got a couple of sentences or a paragraph. They're mad because they can't figure out how you're still being blessed after they lied and built a whole team against you. But know that God's got your back, and he will fight your battles, and you will come out victorious in the end. Oh, testify.
Strictly for the culture. Brothers and sisters, you have seen the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies, the mugs in the hands of some of your favorite pro wrestling stars, podcasters, and influencers out there. And now it's time. Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca and you too can be part of the movement. Bigger than sweatshirts and commercial success, Strictly for the Culture aims to build with like-minded people and elevate their position in the world through knowledge, self-love, and a desire to unite. So what are you waiting on? Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca. Do it for the love. Do it for the knowledge. Most importantly, folks, do it strictly for the culture.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Rasslin.